Hi, I'm Jerry Brock, and today we're going to get a chance to help you in the whole concept of relationship marketing. You know, that's what I talk about when I stress that's the most important. Today, we've got with us a person who is working really tightly in relationship marketing in an area called Masterminding. And her name is Ann McNeill. She joins me now. Ann, good to have you here.
Thank you.
And I know you've worked with a lot of people in many different areas, and 10 key areas that you've identified. I want to focus in on one with this interview, on the area that a lot of people are interested in today of finance.
Yes.
Getting their finance together, improving their business if they're an entrepreneur, getting more money coming in and things like that. Tell me how a mastermind, and the principles particularly with your group, the International Mastermind Association,
right,
and how it helps people specifically related to money.
Well, Terry, one of the reasons I got involved with masterminding while reading the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, I came upon a page that changed my life financially, actually. And I remember the date like it was yesterday. It was December 31st, 1979 at 9 p.m. New Year's Eve night.
Wow, 3 hours before midnight. Yeah.
3 hours before midnight, the dawning of a new day. But basically, the page asked 6 questions, and for anybody watching or listening to this, I would encourage you to ask yourself these 6 questions. And financially, this will change your life. It changed my life. And the first question is, how much money do you want? Mm-hmm. And so for me, I said $1,000. Mm-hmm. Now you remember, now this is 1979, so the $1,000 in 1979 was a lot of money for a young person. Mm-hmm. The second question you'd have to ask yourself is, what will you give in return for the money? And I know many people listening to this, you know, you're either on a job or you have a business or both. So ask yourself the question right now, what would you give in return for the money? It would need to be a product or service. Yeah,
this sounds like what Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich.
This is right out of his book.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me at the time, I said I wanted $1,000 was question number 1. And the answer to question number 2 was I would save the money. Mm-hmm. Okay. The third question I'd like for you to ask yourself would be, by what date do you want to have the money? And for my response, since this was New Year's Eve, I said 1 year from that date.
Oh, okay. So New Year's Eve, 1 year later?
Exactly. Exactly. Now, the fourth question, which is really what impacted me dramatically, the fourth question was, write a detailed action plan on exactly how you would get the money.
Ooh, I like that, because you're not just saying, well, just envision it and it'll be there.
No.
I think too often today there's people that think, well, all I do is just envision gobs of money and they'll be there.
Exactly.
You're saying an action plan is critical.
A detailed action plan.
Ooh, I like that.
A detailed action plan. And that detailed action plan took me 6 hours that night, sitting there. And about 4 o'clock that same morning, sitting in that same spot with my entire life now sitting on the table, because what I did was, when I did the math in my head, the numbers did not make sense, because I kept coming up with a negative number. I said, cannot be right.
That's not good. I remember in business school they said you don't want that as your goal.
No, you don't want negative numbers. And so I got a sheet of paper and I did the math again. The negative number got bigger. And I knew that could not be right. So I pulled out all of my bank statements for the previous 11 months. And I sat down and did a chart. And the bottom line was, each month the number was getting bigger and bigger. And there was no way I could save $1,000. And what I'd like to encourage anyone who's listening to this is to do the exercise. Do that exercise, and first of all, identify where are you right now financially. And that would be the beginning step in determining how you would get to where you want to be. Now, from that day, I then continued to read, after I finished crying, of course, and realizing where I was. But the point is that I continued to read, and that's when I came upon the chapter that talked about the Mastermind group, which I realized I needed to get together 2 or 3 friends of like mind and like spirit to help me develop a plan to save $1,000 a year. Now, fast forward now, many years later, I turned that $1,000 savings into a year, and I increased it to a month and then increase it to a day. And I've changed that amount from 5,000 to 10 to 15,000. So my goal now is to make a minimum of $15,000 a month passive income.
Passive income.
Passive income.
Excellent. And you're using a mastermind group.
And I use the
help that.
Exactly.
How does the mastermind help you in the financial quantitative realm?
Well, how my mastermind group and the association helps me in that every year, the beginning of the year, I set an annual goal in the amount of money that I want to make. Mm-hmm. But then I also write a detailed action plan, which now could consist of many pages of detailed action plans and how I would achieve that. So now I have a construction company that helps with achieving that number.
A very successful one.
Yes, successful one. And I also started a consulting company. Mm-hmm. And I also purchased a franchise, a tax franchise, and also started a speaking business called Constructively Speaking.
Yes. Well, you've done a lot and you've put it into motion. So using the principles of the Mastermind group are available to help us in a quantitative, specific way that we can use when we're working in business and when we're working on those things. If someone wants more information about this, Ann, how would they get in touch with you and get in touch with IMA? Well,
you can go to our website.
And what is that? Real slowly.
The website is internationalmasterminders.com.
internationalmasterminders.com.
Right, or you can go to Ann McNeill, McNeill.com.
Very good.
Either one.
Well, Ann, always a pleasure to have you here and a wealth of information.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thanks.